Hey, how's it going, folks? It's been a long while for me to make a video or upload a video, and just lately, just the separation depression is kicking in, but also I'm allowing to have a form of a new business idea that my mate wanting to have. And obviously for me, not being a business mindset in that field, it's been months that we talked about it, but we never kicked through it. And there was like discussion that he spoke in the past, and I never took it consideration, X, Y, and Z. And now to think about it, based on this week, I've attended to the food expo, where it can be international and as well export food. That really got me open my eyes, and bringing the team together. I've introduced another team member, which turns out that person doesn't have allowed to bring the money in the table. So there's nothing much, it's sort of like a dying direction that we really wanted to bring out the Greek cuisine. That was a form of food truck. Then to start up with biscuits and bakery for Greek. And little did we know that the food license is still the same as the food license that you're going to do for dairy product, and as well with meat or raw eggs. So my mate who has done food in the past, it was very simple, but nowadays basically you need a legit kitchen layout. After you have a legit kitchen layout, you get the council approval, and then you can start the business to sell food. But with not having the kitchen, we're wanting to use a food truck as a loophole. I won't say loophole, but using the way to get the food license from that way. Because my mates live in a rental house, I live in a rental house, and a business partner's house is just recently been renovated. Therefore, we cannot establish a form of commercial government standard kitchen, which is a bit bizarre, but I guess it is what it is, because food poisoning, is a big issue. So, the whole journey to know that whole thing is just a lot. And to open a business, like just say a food business in Australia or Western world, it's so much government regulation and hurdles to go through. It just doesn't appeal people to wanting to open at all. Forget about wages and tax, or giving a fair go, giving a try in the industry. It doesn't work that way. You have to go all in to government regulations and standard before you trial the business, right? Now, in my mind, I have this vision long time ago to wanting to purchase a coffee van, and now it has gone to a coffee trailer. But even if you think about coffee, right, I'm not a coffee drinker, right? Sadly, but that's the truth. Coffee, there's lots of component. Even if you put it on it makes sense on a van, because the van is big and there's a lot of storage to place around. But a van or a trailer, right, regardless which one we're going to go through, there's a lot of key component to look at, right? First things first, coffee machine, and as well you need the electricals to run the coffee, right? Number two, you need all variety range of milk, right? Because customers pick and choose whether it's skim, whether it's full, whether it's almond, whether it's oat, whether it's this, they wanted that. And obviously there's 3 types of sugar: raw, normal sugar, and sweeteners. And not only just that, you should think about water system, clean water storage, and you need an outflow for wastewater. Now, you can't just put the wastewater out in the public. You still have to contain it. And not only just that, we haven't even talked about coffee beans, cups, what's the cup shareholder, the fork. There's a lot to go through before we started that business. And our vision was wanting to start a business and incorporate with the Greek biscuit, because like I said, I'm not a coffee drinker, but like having a coffee to mix with sweets like biscuits like that or savory, you guys can help me out. I'm not a coffee drinker, but you know, the biscuit part, you can, you know, there's a reason why I've wanted to establish that team to work together. They can do business back at home, but like I said, we cannot get to that level once we get the government, you know, approval standards. Now we're thinking of, would a rental commercial kitchen, would they accept it? All right, that's another question. I cannot say yes, that's up to the government, but it's just so much hurdles, like, you know, just for coffee. Then you look at the food truck, right? Food truck, you look at whether festivals or events, you can name whatever you want. There's a lot to look at, right? Like, you can set up with a food truck, depending on the size. I'm not going to say anything about it. Obviously, what's, you know, you have a fryer, you have oil, you know, like just, you need a fridge, you need a, you know, the electrical equipment and X, Y, and Z, and you have all that, whatever the fittings that fit tightly fitted in a food truck. Then you got to talk about food. But if you're gonna run a festival can be busy or not busy, right? A festival, right? Now when you have a festival, you need lots of supplies, or whether you want to do burgers and chips, right? Then you need a storage, right? There's not much storage in the you know, food van, right? In the fridge as well, for the food, the veggies, and as well with the buns and everything like that. So that means you need to have prepared, for example, let's just say a manufacturing place that's pre-made all this and non-stop, or maybe you make a huge batch, right? And then you're gonna hire a form of like a refrigerator ute for transportation all these goods left, right, and center, A to B, A to B, A to B, whatever. You need a whole army if you think it carefully, right? Yeah, you have a person who load up the food, then you have, like, you know, what's that word? You have, like, you know, people who, you know, load up, you know, working non-stop in the manufacturing, in whatever the kitchen it is. It's a whole process if you think about it. And not only just that, if you're gonna get event, you know, spot location, it can range from thousands or hundreds to thousands of dollars. Now you never know how the event is going to turn out to be. It may go off or not. Maybe the weather. Maybe you know, something goes on. It's a huge marketing for it if you look carefully of the whole thing. So that's why I said the food thing, like, I've always wanted to do it, but it's just, I look at it as a coffee, a van, it suits better. You take out the whole van into that level, I understand. But man, to think of that whole process, it's amazing. Like, it's just the whole thing. It's just wordless, you don't know what to say. And of course, according to the food standard guideline with the whole thing like that.